Why Iron Man died in Endgame but not Captain America, explained by director. Director Joe Russo explains why they chose Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. to die in Avengers Endgame and not Captain America Chris Evans. Joe and his brother, Anthony, entered the MCU back in Phase 2 with the political thriller Captain America: The Winter Soldier. After the success of their second Marvel Studios collaboration, Captain America: Civil War, the pair was brought on to wrap up the Infinity Saga with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, which was no walk in the park. Luckily, all their hard work paid off as both films became critical and commercial successes. Aside from properly introducing Thanos, Josh Brolin, and then culminating Marvel Studios' decade-long narrative, the Russos were also tasked with coming up with the best way to send off some of the MCU's founding heroes. That included the Avengers co-leaders, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. Now, the characters are both retired in the franchise, although their respective stories ended differently in Avengers Endgame. Iron Man died by sacrificing his life to defeat the Mad Titan. Meanwhile, Captain America was given a second chance at life as he went back in time to reunite with Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell, in the 40s. When asked how the Russos, alongside writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, decided this, Joe said that it all goes back to what they think would be a more compelling narrative. Speaking with Deadline as he launches a new film festival called Sands International Film Festival of St. Andrews, the filmmaker explained why Tony dying was more impactful than the idea of Steve's sacrifice. If you think of Captain America as a character, you go okay, Captain America dying is fairly obvious, right? That is, you know, something he would do based on the character. You know, this is a guy who, you know, offered to be a guinea pig in a science experiment. He's intrinsically a hero. Like there's not a lot of complexity there. It might be emotionally impactful because you like him. You know he's a very likable character, but that's not necessarily the most compelling arc. Tony Stark is a character who was supposed to die. If you watch Iron Man, the first 5 minutes of that film, he should have died, but he didn't. He got captured and he has an ego, right? And that first movie's about the subjugation of his ego in order for him to be a hero. But that ego then fuels him, and at times it competes with this idea of him being a hero. That seems like a more interesting arc to us to take a character who had an ego because to die for others, you have to defeat the rights of that. It seemed like the more compelling arc to us that it would be Stark who died. So that it would be a richer, more complex arc, and that's why we chose him. Over the years, the decisions Marvel Studios made in both Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame have been scrutinized by fans. Not everyone is a fan of Iron Man's death, even though it wraps up his arc beautifully given that he started as a self-centered industrialist who couldn't be bothered by other people's problems. Granted that his death was tragic, especially since he left his wife Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow, and their young daughter Morgan, Lexi Raby. His sacrifice works in terms of his personal arc overall. As for Captain America's final fate, fans are still wondering about the specifics of his ending. Marvel Studios has danced around the queries for a while now, and it's unclear if they will ever lay out what exactly happened to him at the end of the movie. For now, Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, wields the shield and is the franchise's official Star-Spangled Avenger. The MCU is moving away from the Infinity Saga as Marvel Studios continues building Phase 4 and beyond. At this point, the franchise is still far from another culminating project like Avengers Endgame. In fact, it may never be something as bold and risky it was. But even as the franchise exponentially expands with new characters coming in, fans will always have a soft spot for the original 6 Avengers, particularly Iron Man and Captain America. RAZZIE Awards stand by decision to keep Worst Bruce Willis category. The RAZZIE Awards officially stand by their decision to uphold the Worst Performance by Bruce Willis in 2021 category in the wake of the iconic actor's aphasia diagnosis announcement. The Golden Raspberry Awards, more commonly dubbed the Razzies, is a humorous awards show acknowledging the worst actor performances in each cinematic category. As founded by John Wilson and Emma Murphy, the RAZZIE Awards' cutting annual ceremony precedes the Academy Awards and has done so for over 4 decades. While the Razzies have faced their fair share of criticism, the tradition provides some comic relief during an otherwise tense awards season, including when Tom Green wanted to win a Razzie for his film Freddy Got Fingered. The comedic actor was so excited to win a Razzie that he showed up in person to collect his award and had to be dragged offstage during his acceptance speech for refusing to stop playing the harmonica. In earlier breaking news, legendary actor Bruce Willis announced retirement from his acting career due to an aphasia diagnosis. Aphasia is a neurological condition typically affiliated with having a stroke or incurring head trauma, resulting in substantially impaired speech or language. People diagnosed with aphasia often find it difficult to ascertain words and face considerable challenges when reading or writing. As reported by The Wrap, RAZZIE Award co-founders stand by their decision to uphold the Worst Performance by Bruce Willis in 2021 award. Wilson and Murphy stated that they stand by their earlier comments on Twitter, reiterating that they are truly sorry to hear about Willis' diagnosis. The duo claimed they were unaware of Willis' aphasia diagnosis until the story broke earlier and found out alongside everybody else. Wilson and Murphy also shared that whoever was watching over Willis' legacy should have limited the amount of work he did in such a short time. Whoever handles Willis' affairs should probably not have permitted him to do such a high volume of work in such a short time, especially if they were aware of his situation. In Willis' defense, his reps should have kept a better eye on his legacy. Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. Sunset has lots of sadness, says James Gunn. Director James Gunn says there's a lot of sadness on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3. Gunn is currently filming the third entry in the franchise, which brings back the recurring cast of Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax, Karen Gillan as Nebula, Tom Komentiev as Mantis, Bradley Cooper as Rocket, and Vin Diesel as Groot. Also joining the film is Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, as well as a few more familiar faces with Sylvester Stallone, Elizabeth Debicki, and Sean Gunn. Gunn has said that Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 will be the end for this team of Guardians, which has been a bittersweet notion for the cast, crew, and fans alike. Bautista has echoed the bittersweet aspect of the film, but said that he's looking forward to wrapping up the 10-year journey of playing the character in the series. Saldana has also responded to Gunn's statement about GOTG Vol. 3 being the final chapter, noting the emotions already started, but also highlighting the fact that they get to finish the journey together, and that Gunn is giving them all a really beautiful ending. While Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 may be the last time audiences see that particular team together, there's still the matter of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which Gunn recently said is the greatest thing he's ever done in his life. The director said it will be unlike anything that anyone's ever seen before, which audiences will bear witness to when it debuts on Disney+ this holiday season. Pratt's Star-Lord will also be seen in Thor: Love and Thunder, so there's at least one additional appearance for his character in the MCU as well, but it's unclear what fate awaits the rest of this group of Guardians. It's interesting that Gunn says GOTG Vol. 3 is the last Guardians movie for most of us, as it implies that not everyone will necessarily be killed off or otherwise dismissed from the MCU entirely. It also makes it sound like Gunn is dead set on this being the last film in the Guardians franchise for him, which makes sense given that he's said in the past that he wants to remain true to the story and characters in telling the story he's outlined. Still, it leaves room for speculation as to who lives, who dies, and what the future holds for these beloved MCU characters. Audiences will know for sure when Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 hits theaters on May 5, 2023. Everybody's talking about JAMIE movie BTS details, revealed by writer. Everybody's talking about JAMIE writer Tom McCrae discusses the behind-the-scenes details of the film that helped it take shape and come together the way he envisioned it. McCrae also wrote the stage musical version of the story, which premiered on the West End in 2017 and is currently on hiatus due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The stage show made its American premiere in January 2022 in Los Angeles. Based on the documentary JAMIE, Drag Queen at 16, Everybody's Talking About JAMIE follows the titular British schoolboy as he overcomes prejudice and bullying on the journey to become a drag queen. The film was released on Prime Video in September 2021 and received positive reviews from critics, with many citing the uplifting tone and energetic musical numbers. Everybody's Talking About JAMIE is one of many musicals to come out in 2021 to fill a void made by the pandemic preventing live performances from taking place. On the podcast The Art of Kindness, McCrae talks about how they shot the film in Sheffield, South Yorkshire, England, where the musical premiered, and how a lot of the extras in the movie were fans of the stage show. He talks about how the support of that audience is what drove the musical to find success on the West End and led to its film adaptation. He also mentions that the number of people who came out to appear as extras in the movie was in the thousands. When we shot the film, we went back to the community and we had people coming to be extras who had been there at that first show and wanted to come and tell us we love JAMIE. We got to make a film with thousands of extras who were just Sheffield people who loved JAMIE and wanted to be a part of it. We wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for those people. Everybody's Talking About JAMIE continues the musical trend from 2021 of having musical adaptations provide hope in a world where live performances are largely not a possibility, where the infectious energy of a stage musical is being translated to the big screen. The producers of the movie have previously talked about translating the British working-class sensibility and humor to the show, thus having it be shot where it premiered. Besides McCrae, many of the creative team behind the stage show returned for the film. Along with sporting events and concerts, live theater was hit very hard by the pandemic, with productions only recently starting up again. After 2 years of looking at the world through screens, many are craving the personal, intimate experience of seeing a live show. And despite Everybody's Talking About JAMIE and the other musicals trying to replicate that feeling, there's no substitute for the real thing. In the end, Everybody's Talking About JAMIE was made by people with a passion for performance, and the project will be enjoyed by audiences on screen and eventually on a stage. Okay, stay tuned to our channel. I'll be providing you with up-to-date reliable movie news. Enjoy!